we're going to talk about movement, because movement is everything in a game. Movement that I hate, Call of Duty, you can completely shift your momentum 180 degrees in a single frame. But on the other side, I hate games where the movement sacrifices playability for the sake of looking good. Gears of War, the movement in that has always kind of frustrated me, but at the same time I don't want it to be like zippy. It's all about finding that middle ground, I guess. This is what we have so far. Alright, you ready? Look at that. And then if I hold down shift, he faces the cursor. I mean, it's a bit laggy, but I wanted it to be sort of laggy and then make the torso twist first. So the torso moves and then the legs move, which is kind of how humans move, I guess. You don't just like turn your whole body at once when you're thingo. So this is it with when the torso moves first. I think that looks way better. It doesn't look like looks like he's got fucking Heelys on. He's just zooming around. And then on top of that, we add leaning. So he's leaning in the direction of acceleration or deceleration. So when he stops, he kind of leans back a bit. That's what humans do. You know, that's how you impart momentum, I guess. He's still got fucking Heelys, bro. Maybe I should make a Heely, like Tony Hawk's Pro fucking Heelys. Hey, what's up? And I've also got, yeah, like the, I'm calling it combat mode, I guess. So when you hold down shift, you walk slower, but you can freely rotate and like strafe, you know. So now it looks like he's on a hoverboard or something. So I've hooked in all of my animations that I lovingly crafted in Blender, which I've just been dicking around with. I used to use a pivot stick figure animator in high school. This is one of the coolest things that I've found about using this engine, right? So, I mean, I'm sure every engine has it. I just didn't know it was a thing. But they're called blend spaces. And so I've got my idle pose, and then as this little slider goes up, it blends into the walk. And then as that goes up further, slowly blends into the run. The cool thing is that it goes both ways. So you can blend it between your like sideways walking animations and stuff, and then backwards. When your capsule has like momentum and stuff and the turning rate isn't instant like this, if I go in slow motion, you see that it sort of goes through the sideways ones into the forwards ones and goes from walking into running. There's no point where you think, okay, that's the walk animation and then that's a run animation. It's just the same. It's cool. Very cool. This is fun. So another thing I've done is when you jump, it always uses the forward foot to jump from. I used animation curve, so I just went from 1 to -1, back up to 1, and then when you press jump, it fires an event which says, okay, is it above or below 0? If it's above 0, play the left jump animation, and if it's below 0, play the right foot jump animation. Yeah, looks good. I've made this little, I mean, it looks really stupid. So this is for when you land from jumping. So the way additive animations work is that they have a reference pose, which for this one is like this pose, and then you can add that on top of other things. So it says at this point, relative to the reference pose, this bone is doing this. So in the animation that it's on top of, it says okay, do that same thing, rotate the bone. So if I get one of my walk for, okay, that looks, look at that. What have I done? What have I done? No. Okay, that's a really bad example. Run loop. Okay, yes, okay, so you can see that he's running. Okay. And it's playing that landing compression animation over the top of it. What I'm thinking of doing with it is if you hit the ground with 10 velocity, then it'll just be like really subtle. But then if you hit it with like maximum velocity, it'll squish you down heaps. So let's go ahead and add that. So if I jump from here and you see he squishes down, but if I go from like here, doesn't go down as much. Or if I just jump, goes down a tiny bit. So next up, I wanted to do when you jump a little bit too far. You're not dead, but you've hurt yourself. Depending on how hard you fall, when you fall fully, and when you fall like at the start of this, where this threshold plays, it'll just you know, play this sort of half falling animation versus this one. And then it also blends, the computer just does, because it's so smart. So basically when you hit the ground, it stores a variable of what was your velocity in the z-axis at that point, and stores that, and that determines, you know, what this blend space plays. I ran into a bug. I was stuck on it for like 30 minutes. I was like, why is it always playing the shorter animation? And then I realized that I had the axis values set into positive 800 and positive 1400. I realized that when you're falling, you've actually got a negative z-axis velocity. I've got smooth brain, but I fixed it, and so this is what it looks like in the game. I've also added, if you fall too hard, you just ragdoll and you die. Oh fuck. No. Let's jump off. Hey, nice. So that was like a smallish landing, I guess. Let's see if this kills us. That was sweet. That was amazing. I love that. I love that. All right, let's do it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. I also added in just a button. You press K, and you just die. So. Oh, you did a flip. All right, enough. When you press the space bar and you're not in the combat mode, you will jump. First, it checks, is there a wall to climb? I'll give you a quick little rundown of how it works. This took me a really long time to figure out because there's so much maths and geometry in game design, and I wish that I did more complex maths in school. I just did general maths. I was good enough at maths that if I did general maths, then I'd pass and I'd get a good mark, and it would be so easy that, you know, I'd only have to come to half the classes, and that's essentially what happened. What we're doing first is to check if there's a roof above the player, so you don't climb through a roof next to a wall. Just get the location of the actor, add 300, do a line trace from that point. The end of the line trace will be at like the torso. So if that hits anything at all with this little return value, then do nothing. But if that's false, then we go down here. Things get a bit hairier, like spaghetti, fucking blueprint bolognese. So this says, is there a wall in front of the character? Get the actor location plus 30, so that's like at like chest height, I think. That's where it starts, and it ends by getting the forward vector of the character. I've times it by 80, which makes it go out in a direction. If I draw it and go persistent, then whenever I hit spacebar, it'll shoot a little red dick out of him. That's basically just checking, is there a wall in front of you? And I can do it while I'm jumping. Oh shit. This stores a variable of where it hit the wall and what the normal was. So the normal is if the wall looks like this and you hit it then what's like the right angle of the wall? Not the reflected angle of the beam, but what's the angle of the actual thing that it's hitting. It uses that to basically get the wall, shoot it, move a little bit past it and up, and then shoot a trace down from a certain point. And that gives us the height of the wall. And this one checks the depth of the wall, because I want to have separate animations for when you climb onto a ledge versus when you're climbing over like a wall. You'd just vault over a fence, but you'd climb onto a little ledge, basically. And this just sends another trace down, but further back. And it says, how different is this one to the first one? This is just a little logic spaghetti that determines, okay, is the wall short? Is it tall? Is it thick? Or is it small? And this little section says, set those motherfucking variables. So, is wall tall? Is wall thick? Can climb? And just as a little check, set is falling to false, because I had a little issue where if you were falling and grabbed onto something, then when you got up from the wall, you'd go into the falling animation and you'd just be like floating around doing this. It's like, oh shit. So let's see what that looks like. I'm just using Longmire's animations. Yeah, so there's two separate animations. There's the climb up with the two hands, and there's the little vault. And I've rigged up a system that makes it so that your hand always is at the top of the ledge, and you can do it while you're running. Looks good, feels good. And yeah, the short one as well. Okay, that was fucked. Just pretend that didn't happen. There we go. That was the short climb. You know what's better than this Lamborghini? Knowledge. I think I'm gonna leave it there for today. I think I've rambled heaps, and if you're still here, thanks. But basically the movement for the game is it's essentially done, and I'm just having a blast, like just testing it out, finding little bugs, little hiccups that completely break the game. It's just fun to just play around in this little, bloody test level that I've made. I've worked on some of the visuals, like some of the style and stuff, a few little prototypes, and just testing out, shaders and whatnot. I'll get into that next video, I think. I think that's what we'll talk about next. I think we'll talk about some materials and shaders and this post-processing that I've set up, this sort of cell shader. Anyway, it's been great, and I hope to see you in the next video. So, with that, goodbye.